Namaskar, Bondura. Hello, friends, and Shuprabhat. Good morning. It is early. Just woke up. Don't mind the hair, but I do need to make some breakfast for my husband this morning before he heads off to work. So if you watch any of my morning routines, then typically you'll know that I make super easy breakfasts, so like fruit, nuts, things like that. But today I've decided, to make some paratha. Every once in a while I like to get up early and make something special for my husband, and I've been having a couple people ask me how I make aloo paratha. I do have a video on how I make sattu paratha with my mother-in-law, but today I'm going to make aloo paratha on my own. I'll make sure to post a link to that other video if you're interested in that. But today we'll make aloo paratha. So first off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the dough, or the flour. So you're going to want to get some atta or whole wheat flour and some maida or regular white flour. Then you're going to need some sugar, some salt, and then of course the spices. And if you have coriander leaves, that would be preferable, but for some reason I can never get my coriander leaves to last more than a day or two, and then they just wilt and die. So if you guys have any suggestions on how to keep coriander leaves longer, please let me know, because I end up wasting it. I hate that. So what I've used then is I like to use kasturi methi leaves. So if you don't have coriander leaves, kasturi methi leaves works just fine too. So first, let's go ahead and boil the aloo or the potatoes. So I'm just making about 2 to 3 aloo parathas this morning. So I'm going to use one big potato and one small potato. I like to make sure that I have enough filling. And if I have any leftovers, then I will eat it later myself with some eggs or something. So it's always good to have more than not enough. I like to really fill my parathas the best I can. You can boil the potatoes on the stovetop if you want, if you're boiling other things, but I like to throw it into the microwave because I think it's a lot faster, takes up less space on my stove. And so while it's in the microwave, I can get everything else together. So all I'm doing is peeling the potatoes. I mean, if you like the skin on your potatoes, you are more than welcome to keep them on, but typically we just don't, just to make sure it's clean. I mean, if you do keep the skins, just make sure you really scrub the outside and wash it really, really well. So all I'm doing is cutting the potato into chunks. We are going to end up mashing the potato, so it doesn't really matter how big or small. Of course, the smaller, the less it's going to take to boil the potatoes. So I don't think I actually need the small potato. This is the big one. I think that's going to be plenty of potato. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it with some water. Make sure that the water covers the potato, and then I'm going to set this in the microwave for about 8 minutes, and then we can put everything together. We want about half a cup of atta, half a cup of maida. This is gonna probably make more dough than I actually need, but that's okay. I'd rather make more than not enough. I'm gonna take about half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of sugar, or 2 grams, Now, it's kind of your preference. If you want more salt and sugar, you can have more salt and sugar. Most of today, you know, I really don't normally measure. I just kind of throw things in there. So it's really up to your taste, honestly. And then what I like to do in the dough is I actually like to add some more spices. Add a pinch of Kashmiri methi. Rub it in your hands. Let's break up the leaves. Throw a little in there. I think I'm going to use a little bit of arjwan. Looks like another little, not a lot, see, just a pinch basically. Throw that in there. And that's it for the dough. So we're gonna mix that up. Now we're gonna add water. I don't actually have exact measurement for water. Basically, you wanna add a little bit at a time. That's what I've learned when making dough. You don't want your dough too watery, because then it'll be very sticky, but you also you wanna make sure you add enough water so that its consistency is perfect, to where it's not too doughy, but it's also not too hard, is what I meant to say, not too hard. So this is kind of my process of making it. You'll be surprised how much little water you need. I've learned the hard way of adding way too much. If you add too much water on accident, just, of course, add some more flour. And you basically just want to knead it for a couple of minutes. This is almost perfect, actually. We want it soft enough to where it'll be easy to roll out. And when making paratha and rolling out the balls, you're definitely gonna want bigger balls because we're filling the paratha. So it's gonna be bigger than what we normally have. And this is actually perfect consistency. So that's it, really quick. I like to just kind of fold it under. I don't honestly know why they do that. I just see that in everything. And we're just gonna let that sit for a minute until the potato mixture or the potatoes are done boiling. The potatoes are done. It is still kind of hot. I've already drained out the water and rinsed it with some cool water. So now is the fun part. We're going to go ahead and marinate. So I would say about half teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of salt, or 2 grams. So 1 teaspoon is about 4 grams. So I'm doing everything basically in half teaspoon, so 2 grams worth of everything. Then I like to add half a teaspoon of cumin powder, half a teaspoon of garam masala, half a teaspoon of coriander, and a pinch of red chili. And that's it. Now what I like to do is I have a potato masher. If you don't, that's okay. You can use your hands, but the potatoes are still pretty hot. And then I just mash it all together. You can wait till your potatoes cool down and then do this by hand, but I'm in a rush today. Now, if you want, you are more than welcome to add onions, if you can dice them up really small, and green chili peppers. But I find when I do that, I don't cut my onions small enough. And when I roll out the paratha, it breaks. And then it comes through the skin and it's just not good. So I just like to cook it with the potato and add red chili powder for the spice. But like I said, you guys are more than welcome to add green chilies and onions. And this is just my this is what I just put together and found that I really like. You are more than welcome to add any other type of flavor or spices that you want, but that's it. Potato mixture is done. So we're gonna go ahead and roll out our parathas. So here I have my rolling board. I like to put a piece of newspaper down because so it doesn't slip. This is a wooden one. They have so many other different kinds out there, but I'm used to this one. We're gonna take our paratha. This is actually perfect. And we wanna make big, I could probably add a little bit more. We wanna make big balls because, again, we're gonna be filling them up. And you wanna make sure you have enough to fill them up. So this is perfect, like palm size, thick. So I made enough to make 3. My husband will have 2 and I will eat 1. Now this dough is a little soft. I could have added a little less water, but I actually prefer soft, a little bit softer dough because it actually is easier for me to roll out. So basically we're gonna take the dough, just gonna put this here for now, and then I'm going to pinch it open, kind of making a big circle. We don't want to push it out too much because we want to make sure it's thick still. If it's too thin, then when we start rolling out, the aloo mixture will end up kind of going through. A little bit more. Okay. I think that's good. A little more. Okay, and then we're just gonna kind of put it in our palms and make it into kind of like a dome. You can put it in your fingertips or your palm, and then just take the potato mixture and push it in. Just like so, okay? And then what we're gonna do, use your hands if you need to, is we're just gonna basically combine the edges together. Just like so. Pinching it basically in a circle, pinch, 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 and patting it down. And then I like to just kind of roll it out a little like so. And there you have it. Now we're gonna roll this out. So I have here with me some flour. I just take the ball, kind of pat it in the first time, just like so. Definitely wanna make sure you get enough flour so that it doesn't stick to your board. And then we roll it out. You wanna be gentle, you don't wanna put a lot of pressure because it is filled and it is soft. My key here to help keep it soft is just add flour. And then at the end, I can easily wipe the flour off. So I roll a little on one side, flip it. And this paratha is gonna be a little thicker than your normal parathas because of course it has fillings inside. And if sometimes you find yourself, when I first was making parathas, it would break on the edges here sometimes, and that's okay, guys. It doesn't have to be perfect. You know, it's still food, it's still gonna be delicious. It doesn't have to look pretty. Practice makes perfect, guys, I find. And it took me a long time to really be able to roll out my parathas, you know, and figure out the dough, but it's perfect. Look at that. You can see the potato in there. It looks like it's filled pretty evenly, so one down, 2 more to go. All right guys, so now it is time to cook the paratha. So there's only 3 things you're gonna, well 4. You're gonna need a pan. I like to use this circular concave tawa pan because these are big. We want it wide open. You're gonna need a spatula. I do use one of these. If you have a spoon will work fine as well if you don't have a paster. And then the most important is ghee. So I have ghee right here. If you don't have ghee, that's fine. You can use regular oil. Sometimes we run out and I will just use oil, but he loves ghee, loves the flavor of ghee, and it's usually a little bit better than oil. And then of course, a container to hold our paratha in. So the key here is we're gonna go ahead and get we're gonna get the pan hot, nice and hot first. Now I will just dip my paster in here. If you have a spoon, you can just take it out and roll it around the paratha. It's up to you, your preference. It's just easier if I just kind of dip it, but I can understand some people may not like that. So what I find, once it gets nice and hot, so I have it on high heat right now, I will take my paratha and lay it down. So what I do is I will keep it here, and I know when to flip it whenever the dough kind of starts to lighten on the top part. That means I know the bottom part has cooked well enough. So the heat, you can tell that the paratha starts to change color a little bit once it's been cooked. Or if you can't, because sometimes the thicker ones with the aloo or other fillings, sometimes it's harder to tell. So I would say I would keep it for about a minute on one side. We don't want it to brown right now. We just want it to heat up a little bit, to cook just a little before we flip it. This is actually changing color. So now once it does, you can tell with this one, we're gonna take it and we're just gonna flip it. Okay, and then as soon as you flip it, we're gonna take the ghee, just a little bit goes a long way. And we are just going to spread it all around the top of it. And because the tawa has gotten hot enough, the other side doesn't need to lay there as long. So as soon as you spread the ghee, we're gonna take it and flip it. And do the same thing on this side. And it's puffing up. It doesn't always puff up, that's okay if it doesn't. Typically parathas don't. I guess I just made mine perfectly. Okay, and then we're gonna flip it again. Oh yeah. And you know when it's done, when you have a nice kind of brownish crisp to the outside. You really want to get the edges cooked as well because they're a little bit thicker. And if you don't cook them properly, they can get a little doughy. Flip it again. Oh yeah, it's looking perfect. Okay, and it's done. That fast and easy. So you're going to take your little container here. This just helps to keep it warm longer. I'm just going to put it right in there. Perfect size. All right, let's cook the next one. Well, that is it, guys. The parathas, aloo parathas are finished. They look perfect, smell delicious. I already know what they taste like. I've had this multiple times. It's very good, very delicious. But that'll do it for today's video, guys. We are going to go head for a quick 15-minute walk this morning before we have our breakfast and before my husband heads off to work. But if you guys do try this recipe, please let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you have other suggestions on how you make it, I would love to know as well. If there's anything else I should add that you think would make it taste even more delicious, then please let me know. But that's it, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, then please give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button because it really helps to support my channel, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye!